Good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Shrikant Sawan. I am currently working as a senior resident in orthopedics at Government Medical College, Baramati. The topic for today is a short video session on radiological aspects of hemophilia of the knee. Alright, so in the first slide itself, I have kept two figures or two x-rays side by side. So this is the normal x-ray, normal AP x-ray of the knee, antero-posterior view, as you can see, and this is the abnormal x-ray. Alright, as far as possible, to have a better understanding of things, always cultivate a habit of keeping the abnormal and the normal thing side by side. So once you understand the normal anatomy, it will be easier for you to appreciate what are the abnormal things in the pathological x-ray. So coming to there are three main features which I'll teach you today, which are very classic of a hemophilia knee. So on seeing those features in an x-ray, you can directly tell your diagnosis as a hemophilia knee. So I'll go ahead with the first feature. So we'll first draw out the femoral condyle. So the first thing is the shape of the femoral condyles, which is the first feature. So we'll draw out the normal ones and we'll trace the same on this x-ray. Alright, so as you can note over here, these are very sharp borders. Okay, so this is relatively sharper as compared to this. So this is like a rounded thing. So the first feature of the hemophilia knee is rounded or bulbous femoral condyles as written over here. So that is the first important feature to note. So always first look at the bone, then you can look at the alignment, and then you can look at the soft tissue. So we are seeing the bony features first. Alright, so I'll just rub this off. So as we saw, the first feature is bulbous or rounded femoral condyles. Just beneath the femoral condyles is the intercondylar notch of the distal femur. So as you can see in this normal x-ray, it is relatively rounded. I'll be explaining you why the changes in this shape happen shortly. Whereas if you trace out the same in the abnormal x-ray, it is squared or it has got sharp edges. So this is the second radiological feature which occurs in a hemophilia knee, that is squaring of intercondylar notch. So we discussed two findings. First was rounded or bulbous condyles, femoral condyles, that is this rounded condyles, and second is squaring of the intercondylar notch. Alright, so why does this happen? So the basic problem in a hemophilia knee, I'll be teaching you a very short basic thing about hemophilia knee, about the etiopathogenesis. Okay, so it is basically a problem in the coagulation cascade due to deficiency of coagulation factors. So hemophilia is basically a genetic disorder, X-linked recessive. Hence it affects only males. And classic presentation, since it is genetic, the classic presentation will be a young male. So a young male is a classic presenter for hemophilia knee. Coming back to the coagulation profile, so there is deficiency of factor 8 and factor 9, which form a part of the intrinsic pathway of coagulation. There are two types, intrinsic and extrinsic. We won't be going into the depths of it. This is all you need to know. So 8 and 9 both part of intrinsic pathway, because of which APTT, activated partial thromboplastin time, is increased. Whereas, just for extra information, if the extrinsic pathway gets affected in any way, then PT, that is prothrombin time, increases. Alright, I hope this is clear. So in this case, the intrinsic pathway is affected because factors 8 and 9 are deficient, hence APTT has increased. So when you order for a coagulation profile, you generally order for both APTT and PT. In case APTT is increased, it guides you towards some defect in the intrinsic factor, intrinsic pathway. Okay. So factor 8 and 9 are at a problem. So hemophilia can be categorized into two types, A and B. A is defect of factor 8, whereas B is defect of factor 9. So since these factors are deficient, so 8 and 9 is deficient, coagulation cascade doesn't work, hence there is tendency for bleeding in body even with trivial trauma. So a trauma which will not generally cause a hematoma will cause a hematoma in such a case, because your coagulation pathway is not working properly. So coming back to, so today we are discussing hemophilia of the knee. So knee joint gets its blood supply from the subsynovial capillaries. What is the synovium now? You remember this term, subsynovial capillaries. So synovium is nothing but inner layer of the articular capsule. So capsule is divided into the outer layer, which is the capsule, and the inner, which is the synovium, lined by synoviocytes, which are the cells which are a part of the synovium. So the synovium basically has got these, is the inner layer of the capsule. It has got the subsynovial capillaries which generally provide nourishment to the joint and are the vascular supply of the joint. So in case of hemophilia, there will be extensive bleeding from these capillaries, which will result into blood in the joint, also called as hemarthrosis. So basically there will be blood in the joint for long periods of time. So this will clinically lead to, one, joint swelling, obviously. So one of the differentials of joint swelling in a young male, always monoarticular joint swelling in a young male, one of the differentials is hemophilia knee. Alright. Secondly, coming back to our X-ray feature. So we said rounded femoral condyles over here. So the first finding was rounded femoral condyles. So this is because blood remains for a long time in the knee, so it resorbs parts of the knee, of the femur rather, hence resulting into change in the shape, and it becomes rounded or bulbous. Alright. The same reason can be applied for this squaring of the intercondylar notch. Blood remaining for a lot of time will cause reabsorption and changes in the shape, hence resulting into squaring of the intercondylar notch. The same reason will be responsible. So we discussed two radiological features as of now. We'll go on to the third one quickly. So there is generalized osteopenia in these patients. As you can see, there is difference in the bony density over here and over here. So the third feature is generalized osteopenia, which occurs due to the same reason. Blood remaining for a lot of time in the periarticular, that is around the joint, will result into reabsorption, resulting into periarticular osteopenia, that is decreased density of bone in very simple terms. Alright, so this is the third major finding which occurs. Along with it, now we'll notice the soft tissue. So in the soft tissue findings, we'll see the joint space. So this part, this is the femur, this is the tibia, this is the lateral side, this is the medial side. Alright, so between the femur and the tibia, there is this black space, which is, this is the joint space basically, this area on the lateral aspect, and this is the joint space on the medial aspect. So we see that it is normally maintained over here, it is thick, it is normally maintained. Whereas when you notice the abnormal knee, there is literally no joint space, that is the bones are almost rather in contact with each other, so no joint space. So reduced joint space, in very simple terms, can be said that it is an arthritic knee. So the fourth feature is decreased joint space. This happens because, again, blood for a long time in the knee, this is the bone, this is the bone, bone is covered by articular cartilage, and there is this joint space in between normally. So if there is blood for a lot of time in the knee, the blood enzymatically destroys this cartilage, and in the process there is now no cartilage left, and the joint space decreases and comes to almost zero, as has occurred in this case. So it is an arthritic knee. Okay, I hope you understood these four features. Coming to the fifth feature, which is not seen in this knee but can occur in an acute condition. In the setting of acute hemarthrosis, there will be swelling seen all in this area, that is in the soft tissue area. There will be fluid shadows which will be noted in these areas, not seen in this knee. Okay, so the fifth radiological feature is hemarthrosis or fluid signals in periarticular area. Okay, and coming to the sixth and the last one is something, there is a concept called as a pseudo tumor in this condition. So what exactly is a pseudo tumor? So there will be blood not only in the joint but in the soft tissues as well. So there will be blood in the muscle as well. So if this is the muscle, there will be blood all over the muscle, because the blood vessels will break here also due to trivial trauma. So there will be severe swelling of the muscles, which was earlier mistaken as a tumor, and hence the name. So this is called as a pseudo tumor. So pseudo tumor is nothing but collection of blood in the muscle belly. So what problem will this pseudo tumor cause as such? So if there is blood which is accumulated for a long time in the muscle, one is the blood will get infected, so there will be abscess formation. Alright, and the second problem is pressure symptoms, that is the muscle will enlarge, it can press on nerves or vessels, leading to neurovascular compromise of the limb. So this pseudo tumor is almost always an indication for surgery. Okay, so it needs to be excised, the pseudo tumor needs to be excised. I can't go into the details because that will become a very long lecture then. So the pseudo tumor is generally excised along with its capsule, or one part of the capsule is left inside. Okay, so these were the main 6 radiological features of the hemophilia knee. So I'll just revise them again, and then we'll call it a day. So the first feature is rounded femoral condyles. Alright, so I'll just rub this off. I'll just show you all the 6 features together. Number 1, rounded femoral condyles. This is number 1. Number 2, squaring of intercondylar notch. Alright, then number 3, periarticular osteopenia. Okay, number 4 is reduction of joint space. This is the normal joint space. This is a completely arthritic knee, that is decreased joint space. That was 4th. Number 5 is pseudotumor. Pseudotumor is swelling of the muscle due to blood collection. That is number 5, pseudotumor. And number 6 feature which is not seen in this is in the setting of hemarthrosis there will be collection of fluid around the joint, which is blood actually. So to add on to this, there will be collection of fluid. This will also result into something called as, just an extra information, siderotic synovitis, due to extreme collection of blood for a long period of time, which will appear as a hypointense signal on MRI. Water generally appears white, but this is blood, so this kind of synovitis will appear dark in T2 weighted MRI of the knee. Alright, I can't go rather into the details of the treatment part since we are lacking on time. So I hope you understood and will be able to identify radiological features and explain. This is a classically asked question in all the vivas. It is a very classic X-ray. So you need to know these radiological features and a bit of basics about the etiopathogenesis as well as the treatment part. Thank you so much for a patient listening, and I hope this adds on to the knowledge and helps you somewhere or the other during your theory as well as practical exams. It is a very commonly asked questions in the theory exams as well, and it is one of the differential diagnosis to monoarticular swelling of the knee, so commonly asked in the practical exams as well. In case of any doubt, you can directly message me, follow me at that curious orthopod on Instagram, and for any other doubts please message me on this ID.